For the Amish, cultivating a single crop, the bell pepper, is a journey that begins long before the first seed is sown and continues far beyond the final harvest. It is a story of soil and soul, of community and conviction, and of an economic model that challenges the very foundations of modern agriculture. This journey does not begin in the field, beneath the bright sun of spring, but in the hushed stillness of winter, within the warm embrace of a simple farmhouse, where the plans for the coming year are drawn not on a computer screen, but in the hearts and minds of a family bound together by faith and the shared labor of their hands. The winter landscape in Amish country is a study in monochrome, a world of whites and grays, of skeletal trees etched against a pale sky. The fields lie dormant under a thick blanket of snow, resting and gathering strength for the coming season of growth. For the Amish farmer, however, this is not a time of inactivity. It is a period of intense and focused preparation, a time for mending tools, for planning crop rotations, and for the crucial task of selecting the seeds that will become the next year's harvest. Inside the farmhouse, the air is thick with the scent of wood smoke and freshly baked bread. Life revolves around the hearth, the literal and metaphorical center of the home. In the evenings, illuminated by the soft golden glow of kerosene lamps, the farmer will sit with his family, his gnarled hands, accustomed to the heft of a plow and the delicate task of tending seedlings, carefully turning the pages of a well-worn notebook. This notebook is a sacred text of sorts, a repository of generations of accumulated wisdom. It contains hand-drawn maps of the fields, detailed notes on the performance of different crops in previous years, and observations on the subtle variations in the soil from one end of the farm to the other. There are no satellite images or soil composition reports from a distant laboratory here. The farmer's knowledge is intimate and experiential, gained through years of walking his land, of feeling the soil crumble between his fingers, of observing how the water pools after a heavy rain. His decision on where to plant the bell peppers is a complex calculation that takes into account the principles of crop rotation, a practice the Amish have perfected over centuries. A field that has hosted a heavy feeding crop like corn, which depletes the soil of nitrogen, will be given over to a legume like clover or alfalfa, which has the magical ability to fix nitrogen from the air and return it to the earth. The peppers, being moderately heavy feeders, might be planted in a field that has been fallow or has hosted a soil-enriching cover crop the previous year. This careful choreography ensures the long-term fertility of the land, a stark contrast to the monoculture farming practiced in the industrial agricultural world, which often relies on a constant and costly application of synthetic fertilizers to compensate for depleted soils. The selection of seeds is another area where the Amish diverge sharply from the mainstream. The farmer will likely not be ordering from a glossy seed catalog filled with the latest hybrid varieties, engineered for uniform size and the ability to withstand long-distance shipping. Instead, he will turn to his own collection of seeds, saved from the previous year's crop. These are heirloom seeds, passed down through generations, each one carrying a genetic legacy that has been shaped by the unique microclimate and soil conditions of his own farm. He will select seeds from the plants that were the most vigorous, the most resistant to disease, and that produced the most flavorful and thick-walled peppers. This practice of seed saving is not merely a matter of tradition or thrift. It is a powerful act of self-sufficiency. It frees the Amish farmer from dependence on large agribusiness corporations and allows him to cultivate varieties that are perfectly adapted to his specific environment. He might choose a classic like the California Wonder, known for its blocky shape and sweet taste, or a more unusual variety like the Purple Beauty or the Chocolate Bell, adding a splash of color and diversity to his harvest. While the earth outside sleeps, another kind of preparation is taking place in the barn and the workshop. The Amish farmer is a master of maintaining and repairing his own equipment. He will spend the long winter days sharpening the blades of his cultivator, mending the leather harnesses for his team of draft horses, and ensuring that his horse-drawn planter is in perfect working order. This intimate relationship with his tools is a far cry from the modern farmer's reliance on complex machinery that often requires a specialized mechanic to repair. The Amish farmer understands the inner workings of every piece of equipment he owns, and this knowledge gives him a sense of independence and control over his own operation. Perhaps the most important work of the winter, however, is the tending of the compost pile. To the uninitiated, it might look like a simple heap of farm waste, but to the Amish farmer, it is the heart of his farm's fertility, a slow-burning engine that transforms manure, straw, and kitchen scraps into the rich, dark, life-giving substance that will nourish his crops. The compost pile is a carefully constructed ecosystem, a layered lasagna of browns, carbon-rich materials like straw and wood shavings, and greens, nitrogen-rich materials like manure and vegetable scraps. The farmer will turn the pile periodically with a pitchfork, introducing oxygen into the mix and ensuring that the decomposition process is proceeding correctly. The steam that rises from the pile on a frosty morning is a sign of the intense microbial activity within, a silent, powerful transformation that is essential to the health of his farm. This black gold is the cornerstone of his organic farming system, a natural and sustainable alternative to the chemical fertilizers that are the lifeblood of industrial agriculture. As the days begin to lengthen and the iron grip of winter starts to loosen, a new wave of activity sweeps through the Amish farmstead. The first signs of spring are subtle: the swelling of the buds on the maple trees, the return of the robins, the subtle shift in the quality of the light. These are the cues the Amish farmer has been waiting for, the signal that it is time to awaken the seeds from their slumber. The greenhouse, a simple structure of wood and salvaged glass panes, becomes the nursery for the coming season's bell pepper crop. There are no electric heating cables or automated misting systems here. The greenhouse is a passive solar structure designed to capture and retain the warmth of the sun. The farmer's skill lies in managing the temperature and humidity within this simple structure, using blankets to cover the plants on cold nights and opening the vents to allow for air circulation on warm days. The process of starting the seeds is a family affair. Wooden flats are filled with a carefully prepared potting mix, a blend of compost from the farm's own pile, peat moss, and sand. The children, their small, nimble fingers perfectly suited for the task, will help to fill the trays and make small indentations in the soil for the seeds. The bell pepper seeds, so small and seemingly insignificant, are placed in the soil with a reverence that reflects the Amish understanding of the miracle of life. Each seed is a promise, a potential for growth and abundance. The flats are then watered gently, using a watering can with a fine rose to avoid dislodging the seeds. The task of keeping the soil consistently moist but not waterlogged will be a daily responsibility often shared among the older children. This early introduction to the responsibilities of farm life is a key element of Amish education, a hands-on learning experience that teaches patience, diligence, and a deep respect for the natural world. While the seedlings are unfurling their first tender leaves in the protected environment of the greenhouse, the farmer turns his attention to the fields. The soil, now free from its blanket of snow, must be prepared to receive the young plants. This is where the partnership between the Amish farmer and his team of draft horses is on full display. The sight of a pair of massive Belgians or Percherons, their breath pluming in the cool spring air, leaning into their harnesses as they pull a single furrow plow through the heavy soil, is a powerful symbol of the Amish commitment to a different kind of progress. The horses are a sustainable and renewable source of power, fueled by the hay and oats grown on the farm. Unlike a heavy tractor, their hooves do not compact the soil, which can lead to poor drainage and reduced root growth. The rhythmic clinking of the harnesses and the low, encouraging words of the farmer to his team are the only sounds that break the silence of the morning, a stark contrast to the roar of a diesel engine. Plowing is slow, painstaking work. The farmer walks behind the plow, his hands gripping the handles, his eyes fixed on the furrow being turned before him. He is not simply a machine operator. He is a participant in a dance with the land. He can feel the resistance of the soil through the handles of the plow. He can smell the rich, earthy aroma of the newly turned earth. And he can see the earthworms, those indicators of a healthy soil, wriggling in the fresh furrow. This intimate sensory connection to the land is something that is lost when the farmer is enclosed in the climate-controlled cab of a modern tractor. After the initial plowing, the field is amended with a generous layer of the compost that has been maturing all winter. The farmer will use a horse-drawn manure spreader to distribute the compost evenly across the field. Then he will make another pass with a disc harrow, a tool that breaks up the large clods of earth and incorporates the compost into the top layer of soil. The goal is to create a seed bed that is fine, loose, and well aerated, a welcoming environment for the delicate roots of the young pepper plants. The timing of the transplanting is a critical decision, one that can make the difference between a bountiful harvest and a failed crop. Bell peppers are a warm season crop and are extremely sensitive to frost. A late spring frost can kill the young plants overnight. The Amish farmer does not rely on a long-range weather forecast from a television meteorologist. Instead, he reads the signs of nature that have been trusted by farmers for centuries. He will look at the phases of the moon, observe the leafing out of certain trees, and pay close attention to the prevailing winds. When all the signs are right and he feels in his bones that the danger of frost has passed, he will declare that it is time to transplant. The transplanting of the bell peppers is often a communal event, a frolic or work bee that brings together family, friends, and neighbors. This tradition of mutual aid is a cornerstone of the Amish community. It is a practical and efficient way to get a large amount of work done in a short period of time. But it is also a powerful expression of their social and religious values. On the appointed day, several families will gather in the prepared field. The atmosphere is one of joyful cooperation. The man will operate the horse-drawn transplanter, a simple but ingenious device that opens a small furrow, deposits a bit of water, and then closes the furrow after a plant has been placed in it. The air is filled with the sound of cheerful chatter and the singing of hymns, a testament to the belief that work, when done in a spirit of community and service, can be a form of worship. Once the last pepper plant is in the ground, the long and watchful season of tending begins. This is a period of constant vigilance and hard physical labor. The primary challenge during the summer months is the relentless pressure from weeds. The Amish do not use chemical herbicides, which they believe poison the soil and contaminate the water supply. Their approach to weed control is a combination of mechanical cultivation and manual labor. In the early stages of the pepper plant's growth, the farmer will use a horse-drawn cultivator, a tool with a series of small shovels that till the soil between the rows, uprooting the young weeds. This is a task that requires great skill, as the farmer must guide the horses carefully to avoid damaging the pepper plants. As the pepper plants grow larger, however, the cultivator can no longer be used. From this point on, any weeds that emerge near the base of the plants must be removed by hand with a hoe. This is arduous, back-breaking work, performed under the hot summer sun. The entire family will participate in the hoeing, moving slowly down the long rows of peppers, their backs bent to the task. To an outsider, this might seem like an inefficient and outdated method of farming. But for the Amish, it is an integral part of their stewardship of the land. They understand that the weeds compete with the peppers for precious water and nutrients, and that a clean field is a healthy field. This constant, close-up interaction with the crop also allows the farmer to monitor the health of his plants on an individual basis, to spot the early signs of disease or insect infestation. Pest management in an Amish pepper patch is another area that showcases their commitment to natural, holistic methods. Instead of reaching for a can of synthetic pesticide at the first sign of a problem, the Amish farmer relies on a system of integrated pest management that has been refined over generations. He knows that a healthy, vibrant ecosystem is the best defense against pests. He encourages biodiversity by planting hedgerows and allowing strips of wildflowers to grow at the edges of his fields, providing habitat for beneficial insects like ladybugs, lacewings, and parasitic wasps, which are natural predators of many common garden pests. He will often practice companion planting, interspersing his rows of peppers with plants like marigolds, basil, or nasturtiums, which are known to repel certain harmful insects. If a pest problem does arise, the Amish farmer has a number of non-toxic remedies at his disposal. An infestation of aphids might be treated with a spray of soapy water or a blast of water from a hose. Larger pests, like tomato hornworms, which also feed on pepper plants, are often controlled by hand picking. This is a task that is often assigned to the children, who are taught to identify the pests in their eggs and to remove them from the plants. While these methods may not be as immediately effective as a chemical pesticide, they are in keeping with the Amish principle of first do no harm. They are willing to accept a certain level of crop loss as a natural part of the farming process, a small price to pay for maintaining the health and balance of their farm's ecosystem. As the summer progresses, the pepper plants grow into sturdy, waist-high bushes, their dark green leaves providing a canopy for the developing fruit. The farmer will watch them closely, ensuring they receive adequate water, especially during the crucial period of fruit set. Without an automated irrigation system, this often means hauling water to the field in a horse-drawn water wagon, a labor-intensive but necessary task during dry spells. He knows that consistent moisture is the key to producing peppers that are large, sweet, and thick-walled. By late summer, the first fruits of their labor are ready to be harvested. The harvest is done entirely by hand, with the family moving down the rows, carefully selecting the peppers that have reached their peak of ripeness. The peppers are cut from the plant, not pulled, to avoid damaging the branches. The sight of the harvest baskets overflowing with a rainbow of colors, glossy greens, vibrant reds, sunny yellows, and deep purples is a moment of profound satisfaction, the culmination of a season of hard work, patience, and faith. A significant portion of this bountiful harvest will be preserved for the family's own use. The Amish are renowned for their skills in canning, pickling, and drying. The summer kitchen, a separate building or room designed to keep the heat of canning out of the main house, becomes a hive of activity. The air is filled with the sweet, tangy aroma of pickling spices and simmering vegetables. Jars of pickled peppers, pepper relish, and canned peppers are lined up on the shelves of the root cellar, a colorful and reassuring sight that promises good eating throughout the long winter months. This practice of preserving the harvest is a key component of the Amish commitment to self-sufficiency. The economic viability of this traditional, low-tech method of farming is a subject of much curiosity and debate in the outside world. On the surface, it would seem that the small-scale, labor-intensive Amish farm could not possibly compete with the vast, mechanized operations that dominate modern agriculture. However, a deeper analysis reveals a surprisingly robust and resilient economic model. The foundation of this model is an almost complete rejection of debt and a relentless focus on minimizing input costs. An Amish farmer does not have a massive bank loan for a $500,000 combine harvester or a state-of-the-art irrigation system. His primary capital investments are his land and his team of horses, which are often bred and raised right on the farm. His fuel costs are the oats and hay he grows himself, insulating him from the volatile price of diesel fuel. Furthermore, he does not have a large annual bill for synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides. His fertility comes from the compost created from the waste products of his own farm.